Hey everybody, welcome in to the Friday Night Final Drive Week 2 edition. I'm Francis Beck. Joining me in just a few moments will be Frank Wolf on the call. We have an exciting weekend. Friday night of football here in Western New York. Week 2, Thursday game started yesterday. So we'll be going through scores tonight. Frank Wolf's going to join me in just a second. We're going to go through these scores, what we have so far. Um, I don't know if Frankie's going to join me or not. I guess not. Frank's in a great back, but right now we're going to start with the scores right now, what we have in so far. Last check. So we do have these updated on our Facebook, on our, not on our Facebook page, on our website, wathletics.com. Quick scoreboard going on. Lancaster right now leads Hutchcheck 27-6. That's in the third quarter. Bennett up big over Will North, 46-15. Clarence also up big. They're putting up a shutout right now, 41-0 over Niagara Falls. Orchard Park, 35-8. Jamestown, 27-13 over Wills South. West Seneca West and Frontier in a tight one with the Falcons up 14-12. Hamburg, 33-7 over Williamsville East. South Park, 20-8 over Amherst at last check. Albion Maryvale 0-0. We're still waiting for an update. Last update, West Seneca West Trojans 7-7 tie with Olean. Pioneer also tied at 7 with East Aurora Holland. Iroquois is up 33-0 over Tonawanda. Akron also putting up a shutout right now, 34-0 over Alden. St. Mary's 33-3 over Eden North Collins. Springville 26-0 over Depew. Still waiting for an update on Chautauqua Lake, Gowanda Pine Valley. Fredonia, last check, up 28-13 over Allegheny Limestone. Southwestern Salamanca tied at 0. Cassadaga Valley Falconer along with Maple Grove. They're all one team this year, 21-0 over Silver Creek. And Franklinville, Ellicottville, 20-14 over Randolph. And finally, last check, CSP 32-6 over Cattaraugus Little Valley. So those are your scores as of right now. I'm just going to double check if there are any last minute updates. We just got another couple in as of just a few moments ago. Fredonia 28-20. They're up right now. Gardini, a 35-yard touchdown catch. That's in the third quarter. Fredonia leads Allegheny Limestone 28-20. So I think that was Allegheny Limestone, the Gators, that just scored. And then third quarter, Albion 22-7 over Maryville. We also have a bunch of reporters out tonight, but those are your scores as of right now. I just got back from South Park Amherst. Amherst took the lead early in that game. Think of the Sparks' first possession. There was a pass to sort of a swing pass. It went backwards, fumble, and then Teddy McDuffie was there to pick it up. He took it about 65 yards the other way for the score. But then South Park got its act back together, went down the field, scored again. I believe it was about a 65-yard touchdown reception, scored again, and last check was 20-7 Sparks when I left from Amherst. That game is going on, of course, at Amherst High School. Sparks really need to make a statement tonight. Last week they took a big loss to West Seneca West. I know it ended, I think it was only a 10-point deficit at the end, but West Seneca West still put 50 on them and had a 3 score lead in the early parts of that game. So a lot for them to prove tonight. Other games we're keeping an eye on, of course, is West Seneca West, who won last week. They're facing Frontier, who also won as well. Mike Straw is keeping an eye on that. Oh, we have another scoring update. Bennett 62 to 15 over Will North. Wow, the Tigers really taking it this weekend after only 16-0 win over Western New York Maritime Charter. An interesting matchup last Saturday at All High Stadium, I thought. You had the Bennett Tiger team who was who was insistent on running the football. Their defensive line dominated, I thought, Maritime. It was kind of you could tell it was the first game of the season. You saw a lot of false start penalties, but the Tigers ultimately pulled away. It was really their defense not really letting Maritime getting anything going. The biggest play the Falcons had was, I think, about maybe an 80-yard pass to the goal line, and then a few plays later it was the Tigers coming up with an interception to stop the scoring. But Maritime, despite their struggles on offense, they did pretty decently on on defense. They only holding the Tigers to one touchdown. The second touchdown was a punt return for a score. Uh, so they are doing but the Tigers are looking good right now. Again, 62-15. We have another update. Frontier scores. It'll be 21-12 right now with 9:22 left. We're going to get call an update from Mike Straw in just a few moments from West Seneca West. Let's check in right now with our game.
Yeah, so it's 1st and 10.
Athletics. You may be hearing the audio from this. Jake Fayok and Norm Rodriguez on the call.
They're at the 24
on the call right now. It's Randolph is leading the Franklinville-Ellicottville Titans 22-20, as you can see on your screen, about 3.5 minutes left. So if you want to check out that game, it's going on our Facebook and YouTube pages as well. You can hop over there.
You
can check that out. We have John Simons right now in the office. He is calling on tape delay the Jamestown West Seneca West game. I believe that game is showing on Spectrum, so we'll show that game on our broadcast 9 o'clock tomorrow morning on tape delay between Jamestown and Will South. Last check, Jamestown was taking care of business against the Billies. All right, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to get some reporters on the field. We have a bunch of them out. West Seneca West, Lancaster. We're going to get someone to call into the show and tell us how it's going firsthand. You're watching the Friday Night Final Drive on WNY Athletics. All right, welcome back to the Friday night final drive. Francis Beck here. Frank Wolf will join in a little bit. Ryan Solo right now. But right now on the phone, we have Mike Straw, who is at the West Seneca West Frontier game right now. Mike, how are things going out there right now?
It's been a fun game. First half was back and forth. Second half has been kind of nothing but defense with some weird fluke plays leading to points. Frontier has looked good on both sides of the ball. They're up by 9 now, 21-12. Just under 8 minutes left in this one, but I expected this to be an Isaiah Simmons and Dylan, Dylan night, but it's been more of a Vinny Monaco type of night for Frontier, as he has 2 touchdowns and he's just been gashing the West Seneca West defense all night long.
All right, both teams. All right, I know West Seneca West had a good week last week, but for fans, I think the Frontier, their how they did last week kind of flew under the radar. So for those who don't know, how did Frontier do last week? Why was this such a big game heading into tonight?
It's kind of like a validation game, I guess you could say, heading into tonight, because Frontier's always that. I mean, you said fly under the radar. And they have always been a fly under the radar type of program where one year they just come out of nowhere and they're really, really good. And this is a team that has that potential to be a team that holds their opponents under 20 points a game and puts up more than 20 points a game. And when you have that type of team, including a special teams with a kicker who's also their quarterback in Austin Lippert, who can kick the ball, get touchbacks, he can throw the ball 50 yards in the air, he can kick field goals from 30 yards out, he can punt the ball. He had a couple great coffin corner punts tonight. This is a Frontier team that they're going to, if they hold on tonight, will have teams on notice. And as I say that, Dylan Mack with an interception at the Frontier 5-yard line with West Seneca West driving, and they're going to take over now at the 10-yard line. And this is just a complete team that no one seems to recognize.
Yeah, I mean, we had Frontier has struggled for years. You know, they were up in A for a while, struggled, or Double A, and even in A1. And if they played in A1, they even struggled there. So I think that's great for the Falcon faithful down there. I'm sure that stadium has to be rocking. They haven't seen a team quite like this in a while.
No, the student section's been on fire all night. The rest of the fans have been incredible. It's for a game between 2 opponents that don't play each other much. It is as close to a packed house as you can get here in high school football in West New York.
All right, Mike. Well, that is fantastic to hear. We're sure if your game stays close, we'll have you call back in later in the show.
As I say that, Vinny Monaco busts off a 60-yard run to put them into scoring position. So we'll see how much closer it stays.
All right. So we will keep updates from you, Mike. Thanks for calling in. We'll catch up with you later.
All right, Francis, take care.
All right, that was Mike Straw at the Frontier West Seneca West game. As he just said, Frontier is driving. They lead right now 14-12, but we'll keep an eye on that. They may score in just a few moments. Couple scoring updates we have. Jamestown now up 27-16 after hitting a field goal. About 7 minutes left in the third quarter. And then we have a final tonight. Iroquois, big win. 46-6 over Tonawanda. All right, we're going to take a short break, and coming back, we're going to try to get an update from Lancaster as Hutch Tech is keeping the Legends close. We'll be back. You're watching the Friday Night Final Drive.
At Cairo First Wellness, your health and well-being is our passion. Let us take care of you and your family like one of our own.
Cairo First Wellness Center is dedicated to providing patients long-term relief and teaching them how to continue taking care of themselves. With a blend of different techniques, services, and personalized treatment plans, we'll help you find wellness in a way that's right for you. Between chiropractic care, spinal decompression, nutritional counseling, massage therapy, custom orthotics, and more, your relief is in our hands. If twisting, popping, and cracking intimidate you, our Pro Adjuster restores the same range of motion as a physical adjustment would with gentle, repeated tapping.
Dr. Mo at Cairo First has been taking care of my back needs for the past 4 years. His staff treats you like family. I've had the traction, I've had the massage done, and every time leave here feeling fresh and brand new.
Cairo First Wellness Center. Your health and well-being. Our passion.
All right, welcome back to the Friday night final drive. Another scoring update just into our studio. Akron 54-0. And right now we're going to go out to Lancaster right now with Melissa Brody, who is checking out end of the third quarter of that game with the Legends and Hutch Tech. Melissa, how are things going out in Legend Land?
It's going great out here. It's great just to be back here with, the student sections back, crowd at full capacity, and, some Friday night lights here in Lancaster.
All right. I know that Hutch Tech was keeping it close in the half, just in the third quarter now. How are things going in this third quarter?
At the end of the third quarter, it's 27-6 Lancaster, but Lancaster is going to start the fourth quarter with the ball on the Hutch Tech 5-yard line after a fumble recovery. One play after that.
I talked to you when you hit halftime. I asked the question, is this more about Lancaster not being up to where they used to be, or is this Hutch Tech playing up to their opponent a bit? What do you see out there?
I'm seeing, Lancaster still kind of figuring things out a little bit at quarterback with Jason Mansell gone. So, just kind of making those early season adjustments and trying to figure all that out.
Now, last week it seemed like it was mostly Max Stolt who got the snaps at quarterback. Is that still the case, or is now being split up a little more?
Noah Kimball's been in a lot tonight.
Okay, so they're going with the 2 QB system. Is it seeming like they're about you said they're still trying to figure things out, so both QBs are kind of struggling and having their moments as well?
Yeah. Fourth quarter is about to start here, though.
All right, I'll let you go, Melissa. That was Melissa Brody from the Sun Papers. She is at Lancaster Hutch Tech again. That Lancaster's up 27-6 at the start of the fourth quarter, but she said Lancaster is driving, so we'll probably see another scoring update in just a few moments. All right, let's head back to our scoreboard page right now. See if we have any updates as well. Still a little bit of a cold, but we're going to go through. All right, Friday night score. Oh, my computer's still, we're still updating the website, so bear with us for a moment. Why don't we just check in while that's updating with the game we're broadcasting tonight live on WNY Athletics, Randolph and Franklinville, Ellicottville. You may be able to hear Jake Fyock and Norm Rodriguez on the call. Right now, it's Randolph's up 30-26. Peers are kicking off end of the third quarter. And punt return, a pretty good punt return. But yeah, 1:43 left in that game, 30-26. Randolph over Franklinville, Ellicottville. Another quick scoring update. Jamestown scores again, 35-16. Fifth touchdown for Jalen Kutera. I believe he had 5 or 6 last game against Orchard Park. He has been on a roll these first 2 weeks. All right, let's check our scoreboard right now. Bennett right now 62-15 over Will North. Clarence still 41-0 over Niagara Falls. Orchard Park, last update 35-8 over Grand Island. West Seneca West, Frontier does score. Remember we were talking to Mike Straw a few moments ago, said Frontier was driving. Well, they were able to punch it in. They now lead 21-12. Hamburg 40-14 over Will East. Still waiting another update from Amherst High School. Last update though, the Sparks were leading 20-8. Albion 22, Maryville 7. West Seneca East and Olean tied at 14. Pioneer, East Juror Holland are also tied 7. First final of the night, Iroquois 46-6 over Tonawanda. Alden keeping up the shutout 34-0. Akron keeping up the shutout 34-0 over Alden. North Collins gets on the board. They're down 33-3 against St. Mary's. Remember, St. Mary's had a big win last week over St. Joe, so it seems like that program has something special going on this year. 26 to nothing over Springville. Gowanda Pine Valley, Chautauqua Lake still waiting an update. Fredonia 28 to 20 over Allegheny Limestone. Waiting for an update from Southwestern. This game, Cattaraugus, Casadega Valley Falconer, Maple Grove 42 0 over Silver Creek. We just talked about the Randolph Franklinville Ellicottville game, and then CSP is up 53 to 12 over Cattaraugus Little Valley. Those are your scores as of now. On our game, get back to the game. We also had a couple games Thursday night on WNYO. 24-14 Sweet Home won that game over Niagara Wakefield. We also had on our air North Tonawanda 36-23 over Kenmore East. The Lumberjacks come back to beat the Bulldogs. And then Burgard gets a big Cheektowaga gets a big win. Remember, they lost pretty badly to Grand Island last week, but they really bounced back last night. 40-6 win over Burgard. All right, those are the scores as of right now. We'll be keeping those updated all the time. All right, we got another update just in to our to us right now. 39 to 10 St. Mary's over Eden. 4 minutes left in the game. And then another update from Lancaster. Legends punching in 33 to 6. So the Legends starting to take control of that game in the fourth quarter. Oh, and we have another update from Frontier. Just a timing update. Still 21 to 12. The Falcons. About 4 minutes left in that game. All right, we're gonna show you some highlights from last night. Again, we had those games. We broadcasted one game, and then we were also at Cheektowaga Burgard. So why don't I leave you with for a few minutes? Leave you with those highlights from Cheektowaga's big win over Burgard. You're watching the Friday Night Final Drive here on WNY Athletics. All right, welcome back to the Friday Night Final Drive. Frank Wolf is finally joining me here at the desk here at our North Amherst studios. Frank, I know you were at the Kenmore East NT game last night. No, the Bulldogs started out with a lead, and then the Lumberjacks kind of took over by the end.
Is this mine or yours?
This is mine. I took a bite out of it.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I mean, I took a cookie out earlier out of the box, and half of it was gone.
Well, Michael gave it to me.
Oh, what a good boy he is. He's in studio, too. Hopefully clean up the garbage. It's his job on Saturday, but since we're here Friday night, he's got an early start to his chores on Saturday morning. Nonetheless, I wanted to talk to you.
To 8, Orchard Park over Grand Island. And Jamestown's now up 32 to 23 over Will South, about 3:12 left in the third quarter. All right, so tell me about last night.
Well, let me give you an update. West Seneca East has the lead on Olean, 21-14. They just went ahead. Short touchdown run. He doesn't say who it is, but Blaze O'Connor, thank you very much for the updates. Wandu, before I get involved with your show here, which is a great show, I watch it every week, second week in a row. But I watched it all last year. Anyways, Ron Zott is going to be sorely missed down in the Fredonia Dunkirk area. I took a lot of photos down there and would always send us pictures. We appreciated him. And he's a big loss for that sports community down there because he does a lot of work for those kids. And I know they're going to miss him, but he's got a lot of photos that will remind you of Mr. Zott. And he's, like I said, he's going to be missed. So that really sucks. His untimely passing yesterday. Also, Jim McNally, you know Jim McNally.
Oh yeah, Ken Maurice grad.
Everything's a Ken Maurice thing. Anyways, he was in a bad accident, so to speak. I think it was. I'm not going to get into total details, but if you follow them on Twitter, you'll see the story. But want to send a shout out to Coach McNally. Hope you get better, rest up. Maybe you're watching the show tonight. Maybe you're watching one of our streams. Maybe you're watching the Spectrum game. Jamestown piling on poor Williamsville South. You know Buterra's got 5 touchdowns in this game?
Yeah, that's what
He had
the
6
last update
week?
was.
That's 11 touchdowns in 2 weeks. That's 11 touchdowns in 7 quarters. That's 11 touchdowns
That's
in
crazy.
6.5 quarters. Dean's sending another message in. Did he score again?
No, that's an update for another game that we'll get to in just a second.
Anyways, yeah. North Tonawanda, Ken Maurice last night. The Bulldogs did something they haven't done in 11 years. They scored on their opening drive. Now, I don't know if that 11 years is accurate or not, but it seems like 11 years, maybe 20 years.
I don't know where you're getting your stats from.
Unconfirmed stats. I'm just throwing it out there. Your Bulldogs scored on their opening drive. And let me tell you something. It was a very impressive drive. I came away, even though the Bulldogs lost, I came away with more respect for that team than I had going into it. Not to say I didn't have any respect for them. Don't take it the wrong way. But I wasn't talking about Ken Maurice the way we talk about Lancaster and Jamestown. These other, you know what I mean? Ken Maurice is like an afterthought. It's, are they going to win a game this year? Are they going to win when are they going to win again? But I'll tell you what, Francis, that young quarterback, I think his name is Nick Klein. I was impressed. Only a sophomore. You can tell that the timing isn't there just yet, but when they get their timing down, he's got that Coburn receiver. And I want to say a young Joe Kelly, the head coach's son, plays for Ken Maurice. He's a tight end. If he can get on the same page with his receivers, there's a couple other ones there too. Their names escape me. But I want to tell you, that Ken East offense is not that bad. Once they get their timing down, they're going to improve, and I think they could be a long shot. I will say this on the air. Don't laugh at me. You're laughing at me. I haven't even said it
I
yet.
don't know.
I think if you're going to give 4 playoff spots away, and Ken Maurice they have a shot at one.
That A North division, I will say, is wide open because I've mentioned this a couple times. That was ravaged by COVID last year, so we really have no read right now on those teams.
Obviously, they've got to win a game or two. They're probably going to have to win 3 games. But I think they can sneak in somehow, especially if that offense gets the rhythm down and a few games under their belt, get the nerves out. They are onto something there at Ken Maurice. So I'm going to compliment Coach Brian Hillman. Even though they lost to NT, I was excited about the future of the Ken East Bulldogs.
I will say I watched the second half of that game, and I saw a vertical element to that offense that I have not seen in a long, long time, and I was very impressed. I don't think I haven't seen a passing game like that where they can get the ball downfield, and even the ones where they didn't fully connect, I felt like they were close, and that hasn't been there in a long time.
Bennett gets past Will North 62-21. Now that's not a statement game or coming out probably for Bennett. You knew how good and powerful they were. North is slowly coming along. There's a Kelly there at quarterback.
Well, I think that also that says something about Maritime. I think we were both at that Maritime Bennett game, and I think it was a little boring, and I think it was a week 1 game, a lot of penalties and stuff. But, as much as Maritime struggled on offense to move the ball, their defense did a fantastic job. Remember, that second touchdown they had was a punt return. So the defense for Maritime only gave up 1 touchdown, which is pretty impressive knowing the line that the Tigers have. All right, couple scoring updates just came in. St. Mary's 39-10 over Eden. That's a final. Another final, Pioneer 21-14 over East Aurora Holland. Albion's 22-7 late in the fourth quarter. 42-16 Orchard Park over Grand Island. And now nothing, just last minute here, 36-6 Lancaster over Hutch Tech. Frank, from those games, what score kind of stands out to you the most?
I'll tell you what. We were somewhat impressed with the big win St. Mary's had over St. Joe's this past weekend. Now this big win over Eden North Collins. After what we saw Eden North Collins do last season, we were expecting them maybe to have a carbon copy from the spring. I thought Eden North Collins would have a better fight tonight, closer game, but St. Mary's did a number on Eden North Collins. Is that the final? 39-6, or what was it?
For St. Mary's, 39-10.
That's a big win for them. That's a statement. Another statement win. Obviously, a non-league game doesn't mean anything for Eden North Collins and doesn't mean much for St. Mary's, but it does give the Lancers more confidence as the season rolls on. And with Timon struggling, O'Hara, we're still not sure. I mean, they're not playing this week. They do get Cat Little Valley next week, who was beaten by 50 points today by CSP. We'll have to see how that game goes, O'Hara and CLV. That's at O'Hara, I believe. We won't do that game, but maybe I'll go down for a half, or we'll see if what Tony Fiorello is doing, if he can go check on that O'Hara team. But at this point, you got to be impressed with what St. Mary's Lancers have done. So I'm impressed there.
This 42-16 OP over Grand Island.
That was expected.
It was expected. Well, all right. Let's. Obviously, double A to A, but then you had Grand Island, who took care of business against Cheektowaga last week, and Cheektowaga took care of business against Burger. So I guess that shows the difference between divisions. Sometimes we like to say, these smaller schools say they can play with anyone. That might not be the case. I know we saw Maritime hang with Bennett, but I think we can see from those scores there's a difference between double A and A, and then A and B.
Well, you look at the double A's, right? How many kids in double A have to play both ways, as opposed to down in D and C? How many players in D have to go both ways? You're on the field for 80% of the game, and that's including some special teams too. So where do you catch your breath? In the double A's and even quite a few A schools, you have the luxury of depth. Even if it just means getting a body out there to take a couple snaps so that a bigger guy can get his breath on the line, or one of these receivers, what have you. That's the difference between double A and D. Are there much better football players in double A than there are in D? Not necessarily. Cam Barmore could have played in any team. You remember Cam?
Mm-hmm.
He could have played in Lancaster.
Well,
double A.
I don't. He was
6'5", 6'7" frame.
Yeah, but he was the only one with that frame in Class D. I think
what
that's
I'm
a big
saying
advantage.
Is he could have played in double A.
I don't know if he would have. He wouldn't have been the same player. I don't think.
No.
I don't think so. Because remember, he was on the line as well. He was kind of
defensive end. He might not have had to do. He probably wouldn't have had to do that though if he was at Clarence or Niagara Falls or Bennett or OP or whatever. He'd probably just be a receiver, or he'd just be a defensive end. That's what I'm telling you. He could have absolutely played on any one of those teams. So much so, Canisius was reaching out. One of those private schools was looking for him.
They might have been looking for him.
His little brother right now.
All right, going
They
back.
didn't say not to.
All right, going back to the big schools, we do have a final in for Mike Straw. Frontier gets the win over West Seneca West, 21-12. That is a statement win, in my opinion. No, I wasn't aware that was such a big game before, and you had to tell me that's one of the big games of the tonight. And remember, West Seneca West got that big win over South Park last week. I think South Park is going to be taking care of business right now against Amherst.
Well, what did you think of South Park? Because they got down early, right?
Pick
six or something, McDuffie?
No, it was a backwards pass fumble.
Oh.
I was behind the place. I don't know if it was officially backwards, but McDuffie was there. He saw it was the ball fell on the ground. There was no whistle. He props to him, heads up, picked up the ball, took it the rest of the way, and then after that, it was pretty much just South Park taking care of business. A lot of bubble screens. They have athletes on the outside. Is in their quarterback Noah Willoughby was throwing it perfectly on those screens, and it was their fast guys were able to take it.
Were you impressed with Noah's command of the offense?
I didn't see him throw it down the field a lot, although that's not really their offense. Their offense is a lot of those throw it to the outside, get it to your athletes, and he did. From what I saw, he did what I think that Coach Delaney and that staff asked him to do. I don't know if he's better than Humphrey, but he's that style that he gets it out to his guys. So I think South Park's going to take care of business. Hopefully someone else who was at that game can give us another update. But
we didn't get to do that Burgard game. We tried. We sent a crew out there.
Yeah,
the connection there is just terrible.
The connection there wasn't working. We were showing some highlights a few moments ago of that game. We'll show some more highlights later from that game.
Okay,
more some highlights, just kind of on a loop here. We'll also show highlights of NT and NT Ken Maurice. All right, another
DJ
update.
Johnson, 4 touchdowns yesterday for the Lumberjacks.
Yes, he did very well. All right, another update. Jamestown now up 42-23, about 43 seconds left in the third quarter. All right, but let's get back to Frontier. We both got off on a tailspin. Frontier 21-12 over West Seneca West, coming off another statement. What does this say about the Falcons?
Well, we knew they were a tough physical team last year. We knew they had an impressive line. We knew they ran that veer offense, and they've got the right personnel to do that. They've run that offense forever. They just didn't necessarily have the personnel to pull it off. This year they do. They've got those big studs up front. That Christov, what's his name? The wrestler?
Yeah, the wrestler, yeah.
I mean, you don't mess with that kid. He's a great football player, hard-nosed type of kid. He knows how to win. And they're inspiring. They're playing inspiring football. They were a good team in the spring. I don't know I can't remember if COVID caught up with them or if it was quarterback injuries or what. But we knew heading into the season that Frontier had enough coming back where they were going to be a team to reckon with, especially in Class A. They happen to be with South Park, Jamestown, West Seneca West, and a few other heavyweights from A. And is it next week we see Frontier in Jamestown? I think that's next Friday night. So
yeah, I think so, and that'll be at Jamestown.
That's going to be a clash of titans for sure. I'm not as surprised by this, but correct me if I'm wrong. Did a quarterback get injured from West Seneca West tonight? Mike Straw was at the game.
Yes, I believe so, and I think we're going to have him do post-game interviews, and then he's going to call us back with more on the end of that game. Frank, I want to take another quick break, and we haven't talked to Tom Prince. He's out at that Orchard Park game. I want to get him in, get his thoughts on Orchard Park, how they're doing, and maybe a couple of the other scores in. We'll get back to Mike Straw again. As I said, he'll call in with a recap of that game, and we have Melissa is in the fourth quarter with the Legends taking care of business.
Did you tell Harry Skull Springville was losing?
No, I did not do that. All right. All right, we're going to come back. We're going to take a commercial break, but if you'll notice when they pop it up here on the right side, it'll be a turning screen of the Week 1 top performers, Connolly Cup and Trench Trophy, so you can check those guys out. So of that short, you can check out our game between Randolph and Franklinville-Elgidville as well, popping on that game. But you're watching the Friday Night Final Drive on WNY Athletics. All right, welcome back to the excuse me, Friday night final drive. Um, we're gonna head to the phone. We're gonna head back out to Frontier West Seneca West again. That game wrapped up. Mike Straw just finished post game interviews there, and we're gonna bring him on right now. Mike, you just talked with the Frontier coaches and players after the game. What did they have to say about their victory?
To say they're walking on cloud nine would be an understatement. West Seneca West, always a very good contending program, and in all three aspects of the game, Frontier dominated. They won by 9, but the play was a lot bigger. The gap was a lot bigger than what the score would indicate. Last week against Will South, everybody took them kind of, okay, there's something here. Now they're going to have a target on their back going into the heart of the season, especially next week. But Vinny Monaco, it's just a team that preached family and togetherness and doing this for each other, because they know they're a program that they have a chip on their shoulder. Let's put it that way. They know they're a program that often gets overlooked, and you could tell just by talking to them, the inflection in their voices, the tone of them talking in the post-game huddles, and just everything. This means a lot for them, and they're not just going to sit on this one big victory.
I was about to say, we were talking earlier, this isn't what we're used to out of Frontier, this kind of success. So it sounds like that they kind of feel that this is different for Frontier.
Yeah, this is the first time, at least in my time. I mean, I've been covering West New York high school football for almost a decade at this point. This is the most complete-looking team. And again, it's a lot to jump the gun after 2 weeks, but when you beat two solid programs who historically have been good programs in South and West, it's one of those, you get that feeling that the tides are turning here for Frontier. Who knows if it's a long-term thing, but right now, this is building that's something special, and the group of guys on this field, on this team, know it.
Who did you talk to after the game?
I talked to Coach Gray. Coach Gray just couldn't stop shining compliments to his team. Talked to Vinny Monaco, and I talked to quarterback Austin Lippert. And Austin Lippert he wouldn't take any credit, even though we had some few good plays and some good runs. And his leg, I mean, he pinned West Seneca West inside their 10 3 different times. He touched back 2 kickoffs. He had a great day, but he wouldn't take any of the credit. He just kept saying Monaco was his MVP, and to make sure that that's written about. And Monaco couldn't stop throwing compliments to his defense. I mean, West Seneca West had a chance to get right back in it, and they made the interception. Dylan Mack at the 5-yard line, and then 2 plays later, Monaco busts off a 42-yard run and pretty much steals the game, and they just fed him. And he had a chance to score with about 5 seconds to go, and rather than score, he just fell to the ground. And that's just a team that knows they don't want to risk anything. They just want the victory, and they're determined to do it however they need to. And this was, when I keep repeating myself, but when I say this was all 3 phases of the game win, you can't script a better performance from all 3 phases. The only thing, there were a few penalties that Frontier needs to clean up because they get a bit over aggressive. They jumped off sides a good 3 or 4 times, trying to jump the snap count. They get that cleaned up. They get holdings cleaned up. This is going to be a very, very dangerous team.
All right, let's turn to the Indians. You mentioned earlier, I don't think you mentioned on the show, but there was an injury at quarterback for the Indians. Do you have an update on that?
Right now, they're kind of keeping it close. Freeland did come back into the game, but it looked like an ankle. He was having a noticeable limp. They like to run the option with Freeland. He couldn't do it as much early in the game when West Seneca West offense was moving. Freeland was handling a lot of options, QB runs, and the rest of the game they were forced to rely heavily on Terry Nichols passing, and Frontier keyed in on that and took advantage and sacked Nichols 4 times in the second half and kept his completion percentage under 50%. And they knew, and it's just one of those things of, we'll see what happens moving forward with Freeland, because if Lucas Freeland can't go, this offense changes in a big way for a team that is relying on a 2-quarterback attack.
All right, well, thank you, Mike, for that. Sounds like you were at a fantastic game tonight, so be sure to check out his recap, tomorrow on WNY Athletics. Mike, have a great night.
You too, Francis. Thank you so much.
That was Mike Straw. He went to the Frontier West Seneca West game. Falcons won 21-12 over. Excuse me, still getting over cold over here. But yeah, Frontier big win. They now move on to 2-0 on the season, and as Mike was saying, they are on cloud nine right now, going through success that they really have not seen in a very long time. All right, a few more scoring updates that came in as we were on the phone with Mike. Jamestown, excuse me. Okay, Jamestown's up 42-23 over Will South. 42 seconds left in the third quarter. Remember, you can watch that game on tape delay tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. And then we had, let's see. Oh, and then the other update, 36-6 final. Lancaster defeats Hutch Tech. All right, we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with more on the Friday night final drive.
When it's time to sell your home, start with a visit to howardhanna.com, ranked the #1 real estate site for sellers. A few clicks will show you the sales price you can expect for your home. We can get you the most money in the quickest amount of time because we know where the local buyers are and how to reach them. So if it's time to sell your home, visit howardhanna.com today, and we'll match you with a local Howard Hanna agent to sell your home fast.
I love being home.
Are you in pain from a no-fault car accident? Don't wait. Call RES Physical Medicine and Rehab today and take advantage of our 24 to 48-hour appointment pledge. One of our medical professionals will see you within 48 hours. RES offers DXD imaging for a more accurate diagnosis in less time. This allows our doctors to coordinate the most effective treatment plan to get you on your way to recovery faster. Feel better with RES Physical Medicine and Rehab. Click or call today to learn more.
Paul Wolf Agency, how can I help?
I got a problem. I got a big problem. The house flooded overnight, everything's destroyed, and I don't know what to do.
You can relax. The wolf is on his way.
What's the damage?
It's bad.
As opposed to good? It's 20 minutes away. I'll be there in 10. You're Teddy?
Yes, sir.
I'm Paul Wolf. I solve problems.
Oh, good, because I got a big one in here.
May I come in?
Absolutely. Mr. Wolf, can I get you a cup of coffee?
Why do you exercise? To look better? To feel better? To drop a few pounds? To train for an event? To defy age? Or to keep your ability to say yes to the things you love?
All right, we're back on the Friday night final drive. End of the game right now between Randolph and Franklinville-Ellicottville. I believe Randolph with the ball, and they just won it at the very end. I believe they had the ball inside their 5, ran out the clock. They win it 36-26 over Franklinville-Ellicottville. That one just went final on our air. Right now, Jake Fyock, Norm Rodriguez on the call. So congrats to the Cardinals. They win their second game of the season. Now 2-0 in Class D. Big win for the Cardinals. We'll try to get more on that game later in the show. All right, we're gonna go check in back in on our scoreboard page. WO Athletics should be some updated scores as well. We're going through that page throughout the night. All right. Bennett, last check was up 62-15 over Will North. Clarence 41-0 over Niagara Falls. Orchard Park, we got an update from Tom Prince. 42-24 over Grand Island. West Seneca West and Frontier went final. We get a bunch of scores coming in. Actually, we got a full St. Mary's update. We'll get to that in just a second. Hamburg 40-14 over Will East. South Park Amherst. We're still waiting for another update, but last check was 20-8 in favor of the Sparks. Albion 22-7. West Seneca East and Olean are tied at 14. Pioneer East Aurora also tied First final of the night was Iroquois. They defeated Tonawanda 46-6. Akron 34-0 over Alden. St. Mary's 33-3 over. 39-10 over Eden. A few stats from that game we just got in. Christian Lewis, 27 carries, 302 yards, 3 TDs, 302 yards, and 3 TDs. Also, Jaden Wilson helping out on the ground, 10 carries, 100 yards. He was also 2 for 6 passing and a touchdown. Lancers had over 500 yards of offense. Wow. And their defense was led by Ryan Hersey, 9 tackles and a pick. Also helping out was Will Rose at 7 tackles, 3 for a loss, and a sack. Some other scores, we're looking at 26-0 Depew over Springville. We had still waiting for another update from Fredonia, Allegheny Limestone. And then last check was CSP 59-12 over Cattaraugus Little Valley. So those are your scores right now as we get to about 9:41 on this Friday night. On this Friday night, week 2 of the season. Games coming up tomorrow, 2 big ones. It's going to be Maritime at Canisius. That'll be on our air. 1 o'clock game. We saw Maritime last week. We talked about it earlier with Frank. They took on Bennett. Lost to him 16-0 in a game at All High. And then we're going to have Wilson at Cleveland Hill. That's 2 o'clock. Both games on our air. They'll be right here on W Athletics, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, however you're seeing us now. You'll be able to see it tomorrow then. All right, games from last night. We talked about it a little bit as well. Sweet Home got the 24-14 win over Niagara Wakefield. North Tonawanda 36-24 over Kemmler East. And then it was Cheektowaga 40-6 over Burgard. All right, we're going to just take a short break, and we'll be back with hopefully some updates from scores around town. You're watching the Friday Night Final Drive on WNY Athletics. All right, welcome back. Friday Night Final Drive. Reaching about 9:45 on this week 2 Friday night of the high school football season. We just got another update. Orchard Park is up 42-31 over Grand Island. We're trying to get Tom in just a few moments to talk about that game. We do have a little more information on that Randolph, Franklinville, Elkinville game. 36-26 final. Xander Hind finished the night with 4 touchdowns on the ground. He now has 7 TDs to start the season. That's through 2 games. Thanks to Jake Fyak, who sent out that tweet for us post game after calling that game tonight down in Randolph. So good football going on tonight. We see Orchard Park. Tom will talk about that. Seems like they're making a statement, although impressive by Grand Island starting to put something together at the end of the game to fight back against the Quakers as well. But seeing a lot of good scores. We talked about Frontier had a fantastic win as well. Lancaster took care of business, 36-6 over Hutch-Tech. We also end of three. Should be in the fourth quarter by now. Fredonia led 35-20 over Allegheny Limestone. Waiting for another update on that game as well. So a lot of great football going on tonight. Great weekend for football. Week 2 of the season. This is when you really start to learn about teams as well, because week 1 you really don't know who's who. We saw a lot of games. We don't know. Was it a fluke? Was it the team that we're facing is better or not as good as we thought? But week 2, now you're able to compare teams a little more. You have a little more progress in what they did the previous week, or a little more to compare. You can between teams. So I think at the end of this weekend we'll start to see, all right, who is really at the top of each of these divisions, and what's different than maybe what we thought going into the regular season. All right, we're going to check again, try to pull up those scores as well for a second. So you got to scores as well right now on our page. We're trying to keep that updated. A lot going on tonight as well. All right, we got a few scoring updates. Clarence is up 41-0 for Niagara Falls. As we said, Orchard Park 43, seeing 31 now over Grand Island. Jamestown 42-23. South Park Amherst still waiting for another update. Albion 22, Maryville 7 right now. West Seneca, this is an update, 28-14 over Olean. Akron is still holding a shutout over Alden. It's now 54-0. Depew 26-0 over Springville. Still waiting for an update on Chautauqua Lake, Gowanda, Pine Valley, so send that in. We're also waiting for an update. Southwestern and Salamanca. Cassadaga Valley Falcon or Maple Grove. They have now 42-0 lead over Silver Creek. Randolph, Franklinville, Elkidville 36-26. Final scores right now: CSP 59-12, Randolph 36-26, Allegheny Limestone. This is a final now, 35-20 over Allegheny Limestone. Another final: Hamburg 40, Williamsville East 21. Mentioned earlier, St. Mary's now won the game 39-10 over Eden North Collins. Pioneer picks up the 21-14 win over East Aurora Holland. Frontier 21-12 over West Seneca West. The Iroquois Chiefs. Trey Kleitz leads his team to another victory, 46-6. Lancaster Iroquois won 46-6. Lancaster wins 36-6 over Hutch-Tech. We're hoping to get post-game reaction a little later from Melissa Brody, who's covering for the Sun. And then we have a final 62-21, the Bennett Tigers over Williamsville North. Again, Bennett only won by 2 scores over Maritime last week, so big win for the Tigers. And I just got another final in. Salamanca. Ooh, we're going to have to talk to Frank about this one. 14-13 win over Southwestern. That's a big one. I believe that's an interclass matchup. I believe Salamanca is in Dean, Southwestern is in 13. But that's a big statement for Salamanca. As we know, Southwestern has that huge offense with Aiden Kennedy running the show. But he got, it looks like he got held, or at least the Trojans only got held to 2 scores tonight. So we're going to have to get Frank's thoughts on that game as well. That game just came in to my phone, I should say, as well. All right, we're going to bring in Melissa Brody really quick. She is again at the Lancaster Hutch Tech game. I think Melissa is right here. Melissa, we're going to bring you in. We understand you just spoke with the Legends. How are they doing after tonight's game?
They definitely feel like they could have played a lot better on offense. Defense didn't give up a point. The only touchdown they allowed was on a pick six. So the defense, obviously was lights out, but they're definitely thinking they can step it up on offense and looking ahead to next week, hoping to do that.
All right. What did Coach Rupp have to say? We were talking. They were going kind of more 2 QB style than maybe they did the week before. What did Rupp kind of say about his offense as of his quarterback situation?
I actually did not talk to Rupp after the game, and the team went into the locker room, to have their post-game chat in there. So I'm not really sure his thoughts after that.
Who did you talk to anybody after the game?
I did. I talked to a few of the players after the game.
All right, who did you talk to, and how did they feel about tonight's game?
I talked to a few of the players on offense. Talked to Tommy Carlson, who was one of the linemen who definitely said they could have played a little bit better. But also talked to Joe Pedraza, one of the defensive players who had 3 sacks tonight. So definitely, like I said, defense was definitely lights out.
All right, so it sounds like that expecting more. So did they say anything about next week's game and what they hope to improve on?
Yeah, they, like I said, again, the offense is definitely what they'll be focusing on this week because they know next week's a big matchup. Obviously that big rivalry game against Orchard Park, hosting the game here. Haven't played them here in 2 years because they didn't meet during the haven't played a regular season game against them here in 2 years because they didn't meet during the regular season last year. So they're definitely looking forward to that one next week.
And I know you're very familiar with that Orchard Park program. For those who don't know that rivalry, what does it mean to both of these programs?
I mean, it's huge. Hang on one second. Jason Mansell, how would you describe the Orchard Park Lancaster rivalry?
How would I describe it? I would describe that as one of the most anticipated games of the year. It's pretty exciting when you go into it. Everybody knows it's going to be a good game and it's going to live up to the hype. So it's been a battle the last few years, and obviously we've gotten them, but they've gotten us before. So I'm just excited to see what they're going to do on Friday.
All right, and of course Orchard Park just got the 42-31 over Grand Island. We're just told that went final. So I'll guess
Melissa's back.
Okay, Melissa's back. Any final thoughts? I ran out of questions, but answer my question. But any final thoughts or any other takeaways you had from Lancaster's win?
I think I said it all, but definitely everybody's looking forward to next week, trying to put this behind them, improve on what they can during the week. They know what they need to do, and definitely looking ahead to next week, and looking ahead to having the fans here. It'll be will be really great for them too.
All right, Melissa, that's great to hear. Thanks for calling in, and thanks for that great great appearance from Jason Manziel coming out of nowhere, legendary quarterback. Impromptu call in on our show, but so thanks, Melissa, for keeping track of that game. We'll catch up with you throughout the season.
Sounds good.
All right, again, Melissa Brody for the Sun Papers. You can catch her recap of the game and stories on Lancaster in the Lancaster Sun Papers. Again, Lancaster, the Legends get the 36-6 win over Hutch Tech tonight at home. They face Orchard Park next week. All right, we're going to take a short break, and coming back, we're going to try to get Tom Prince. I know he's out at Orchard Park in that game. Might be doing interviews right now, but we'll definitely get to him coming up soon and get his thoughts in the game. Again, as Melissa was saying, Orchard Park, Lancaster next week, and as Jason said, one of the biggest games of the year for really both of those programs. A lot of eyeballs in that game, and as Melissa said, it sounds like the Legends have some stuff to work on even after getting the win before that game. All right, we're going to take a short break. Coming back, we'll have more on the Friday night final drive. All right, welcome back to the Friday night final drive here on WNY Athletics. Well, we just got a little airy there. As we try to work on that, but second as well. I'm not sure why we're so airy, but you guys can still hear me over there, hopefully. We just got another final update right now. Not a final update, another scoring update. Jamestown now leads 42-30. Will South just scored, so it looks like Will South trying to stay in that game in the fourth quarter as well. Excuse me for a moment. Again, sorry, it's battling a cold, but just I couldn't stay away though. Couldn't stay away though from another great Friday night of high school football. Let's take a back look at these scores. A couple games go final. Let's check out the latest. South Park still waiting for another excuse me. Still waiting for another update from South Park Amherst. Albion 22-7 over Maryville. Akron 54-0 Alden. Depew 26-0 over Springville. Still waiting for an update from Chautauqua Lake, Kiwanda, Pine Valley. Send that in. Those are the games still ongoing. We do have final scores for the night. Excuse me. Casadega Valley Falconer Maple Grove, one school, 42-0 over Silver Creek. Randolph 36-26 over Franklinville Ellicottville. Clarence 41, Niagara Falls 6, Orchard Park 42, Grand Island 31, Salamanca again 14-13 win over Southwestern. West Seneca East 28-14, CSP 59, Cattaraugus Little Valley 12, Randolph 36, Franklinville Ellicottville 26, Fredonia 35. Fredonia 35, Allegheny Limestone 20, Hamburg 40, Will East 21, St. Mary's 39, Eden North Collins 10, Pioneer 21-14 over East Aurora Holland, and Frontier 21-12 over West Seneca West. So those are your scores as of right now happening. So we'll keep an eye on those. Not going to be here for too much longer, but we're hoping to get in calling from Tom in a little bit on the OP Grand Island game, but a lot of games going on tonight. We talked about Frontier making a statement tonight 21 to 12 over West Seneca West. They get a big win. All right, I'm going to show you. We're going to try to get some highlights for you from one of last night's games. We'll take you to Cheektowaga Burgard. Those highlights as we try to take care of this a little bit audio issue we have. It sounds a little airy. Apologize for that. But I'm going to show you some Burgard Cheektowaga highlights. Again, the Warriors had a 40 to 6 win over Burgard last night. You're watching the Friday Night Final Drive, WNY Athletics. All right, welcome back to the Friday Night Final Drive. You just were watching some highlights of the Cheektowaga Burgard game from last night. You can catch all that. You can catch that game. We were supposed to have on our air. Fortunately, we had technical difficulties with that game. Tough getting the internet connection there, but you can watch it on tape delay right now in its entirety on WNY Athletics. We just got another scoring update. Jamestown Will South game. Pick 6 by Jamestown. They lead right now 42-36 pending the extra point. So a lot happening there. Game's sort of wrapping up. We're going to get back to those scores. More finals as the night moves along, and we're just past 10 o'clock. So more finals coming in as well. So games we do have pending right now. South Park Amherst, Albion. Excuse me. 22-7 over Maryville. Akron 54-0. Akron 54-0 over Alden. Depew over Springville. Kiwanda, and we're still waiting for another update on Chautauqua Lake, Kiwanda Pine Valley. Be sure to send that in. All right, we're gonna go out to Tom Prince right now, who is at the Orchard Park Grand Island game. And Tom, how were looks like the Quakers offense really got going tonight, but Grand Island did not give up, did they?
Well, listen, got to give Orchard Park a ton of credit because what they did was they pulled starters in the third quarter. So everybody was pulled in the third quarter, and he really got people playing time that he needed to. So absolutely want to make sure that is. But boy, I'm going to tell you right now, Francis, Ben Gasella is the real deal. He's now done it for the second week in a row, and he just is lighting up the scoreboard with his passing ability. He really is the real deal for this Quaker offense.
All right, Tom. Of course, they had a tough back-and-forth game with Jamestown, probably an emotional one, even though it was non-league. So it seems like did you feel like the Quakers had something to prove tonight?
I mean, they definitely didn't want to come out and lay an egg. I mean, they came out the first drive. I mean, it wasn't even 2 minutes off the clock, and they drove, I think it was 45, 50 yards for their first touchdown. And they looked really good. What's going to hurt is Dobosh, their running back, did go out with an injury. So we'll have to see what happens, how bad that injury really is. So what will happen to the running game of Orchard Park, because you'll have to switch from that power game that we saw. And then as far as Grand Island, Francis, I'll tell you this. I thought Horvath did a phenomenal job himself today. Very tough scenario, didn't have a lot of time. But, boy, when he had the opportunity to throw, he was pinpoint today. He's going to be someone to watch out in that A division. He is definitely somebody that's going to lead that Grand Island team to something big.
You know, Tom, we saw, I think tonight was a good example of the past 2 weeks of the difference between the divisions. Grand Island last week takes care of business against Cheektowaga. We find out this week that Cheektowaga is doing fine. 40-6, they beat Burgard, who was in, I believe, won last week against Easter or Holland. And then, of course, you see this week you have Orchard Park, a double-A team, facing A-team Grand Island, and take care of business there. I mean, is that what it should be between the divisions? Is that a good? Those games kind of show the difference between double-A, A, and B.
Yeah, I mean, Francis, when I always say this, when a team's got to step up, the question will be, can you step up and compete with the lines, right? Because each team, normally that line is just significantly larger, stronger than some of the lower classes. Not to say you don't have guys that can compete, not to say that you don't have lines that can compete, but it's doing it every single play for an entire game becomes very difficult. And that's always where I go to when every team steps up is go to the trenches and see what happens in the trenches.
All right, Tom, we were talking to Mike Straw, and he says that the Frontier faithful are on cloud 9 right now. After they go 2-0, they defeat West Seneca West, who, let's not forget, put a big win up last week over South Park. What do you make of Frontier's early season success?
100%. In fact, if you remember, it's something I've talked about, that you absolutely better have Frontier in the mix to be able to come out of this this A South. They are the real deal. For the last 2 years, they have proved it. They did it last year in the Double A's, where they were just missed out on being that fourth team in the Double A conference in the mix. Remember, with Bennett, Clarence, Orchard Park, and Lancaster right in there, competed in a phenomenal game with Bennett last year, if you remember. And here you are taking on the Double A's, drop down a division. They're going to be able to play with every single team that's there.
All right, you talk about those double A's, and there's a big game next week. Lancaster and OP. Lancaster won 36-6, but as we were talking to Melissa earlier, they had, it took them a little bit to finally break away, and they had some QB issues. They certainly, the legend said, feel like they were not up to snuff. What do you think the the Orchard Park faithful should look at that game, or what should these two teams now look at each other 2 weeks into the season, getting ready for a big Week 3 matchup against one another?
I look at it from two perspectives, right? So what did Lancaster have to prove going into this year, right? Was their passing game. Who was going to take over at quarterback? Who was going to be able to pass the ball? Who was going to be able to move the ball outside of the run game? We knew they were going to be able to run the ball, but you can't be one-dimensional in a conference like this. So that was going to be the first question. Who was going to help them come over that? Flip side, Orchard Park, what are they going to do for the run game? You saw what Jamestown did, the way they opened up those gaps for Butera, and you know Lancaster's going to be ready. You know they're going to have the schemes to be ready. Can you stop the run? So it's going to be strength here on strength. Is can Lancaster stop this passing threat that Orchard Park has? Because they go 5 wide receiver sets, and Casella has been incredible so far this season. What are they going to do to stop Casella? And what is Orchard Park going to do to stop that run game?
Well, one thing Melissa was saying was that, that they were having, I think, she didn't view it as they were very happy with their quarterback situation, at least by the play calling and in terms of how they use their two quarterbacks as well. So I guess what you're kind of saying is this kind of sets up for Orchard Park. At least you think they'd have to be favored if Lancaster is having trouble with their quarterback situation and their passing game. That's going to be a big advantage for the Quakers.
But what did the Lancaster do very well? They're running the ball real well, right?
Yeah.
So I can't say that's a huge advantage right now for the Quakers with the way if Lancaster's going to run the ball and they can be just as effective with running the ball that Jamestown was, I can't say that Orchard Park should be licking their chops for any stretch of the means.
Gotcha. All right. Well, Tom, before I let you go, any games, I know you've been keeping track of some of the scores going around. Any other games we haven't talked about, scores that maybe caught your eye, you were a little surprised by, or maybe ones that you expected that maybe others didn't?
Salamanca over Southwestern.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I was going to talk to Frank about that one when he decides to come on in. That one caught me off guard.
Well, listen. It shouldn't catch us off guard because that Salamanca defense and that line is something. They've proven that last year in their play. So no doubt we know they were good, but we were waiting for them to come up with that really big win, and they just did it.
All right. Well, speaking of a pretty big win, we just got a final just texted to me 2 minutes ago. Jamestown 42-37 over Will South. I believe the Billies kind of made a comeback turn, recovered an onside kick towards the end of the game, and I think Jamestown finished it off, sealed their victory with an interception. I think that says a lot about the Billies and their fight and what they could do in that A South division.
Oh, 100% agree. Listen, that South division is loaded. I mean, think about this. You just added Frontier, which a lot of people weren't counting in the mix, right?
Yeah.
You got Frontier, Jamestown, West Seneca West, South Park. You got to worry about Amherst when they've got a kid right now in McDuffie that can do what he can do. You got Will South. You got Will East. They are loaded in that division. Unbelievable how great that South division really is.
You know, if I have a feeling, there could be a very good team or a team that we thought could really compete for a sectional title that may not even make the playoffs. If we haven't had an update for a while from Amherst South Park, but if Amherst turned things around and gave South Park a game, then South Park is going to be in a lot of trouble this season in that division.
It could be. It could be that one game, right? Who has that slip up against one of the other teams in that division that may not be considered the upper tier of the division? It could be the difference of you making the playoffs or not.
Yeah, so I think I really am waiting for a final score from that South Park Amherst because South Park again slipped up. Maybe was that their slip up last week against West Seneca West? But if they slip up again, they're in deep, deep trouble in this division as well. All right, Tom, we're going to let you go. But thanks for calling in. He was catching up with that Orchard Park Grand Island game. You can catch, of course, Tom on Twitter at WNY Tom Prince. Tom, have a great night, and I'm sure you're going to be on one of the broadcasts tomorrow, I'm guessing.
Yes, I have the Canisius Western New York Maritime game.
All right, and that's going to be, I think, interesting game as well. I think Maritime's going to give the Crusaders a game tomorrow, but I think we'll find out.
Well, I'll tell you, with Bennett winning as big as they did this week, what does that say with how good that defense and how good was that line for Maritime to only hold Bennett to 14 points?
Well, no, actually, it was only one touchdown because remember the one touchdown for Bennett was a punt return. So
right.
Yeah,
but I mean, as a whole is what I meant. So I apologize, but yes, absolutely you're right. So what does that say now for Maritime on how good they really are after something this watch there?
And remember, a lot of their issues were, self-inflicted. A lot of penalties and bad snaps, and so if they're able to get that fixed up, you have a Canisius team that has lost some pieces. This could be maybe a pretty decent game, or at least maybe for a half. Maritime, gives them a run for their money.
Listen, that's why we play the game, right? Let's hope that it's going to be a good one. Glad that we're going to be there for it.
All right, Tom, that sounds good. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow. So, Tom, thanks for calling in.
Thanks, Francis. Have a good night.
All right, that was Tom Prince, Western New York Athletics, talking about OP Grand Island, a few other games as well. So that Jamestown Will South game just wrapped up. So we're going to take a short break. We're going to try to get Frank Wolf on. He's been watching that game, talk about that, and then get his thoughts, on this Salamanca Southwestern game as well. I know he keeps track of those small schools pretty well. All right, you're watching Western New York Athletics as well. All right, we're going to go to a quick quick break. You can see last week's top performers of the Connolly Cup and Trench Trophy. They'll be coming out with their top performers from this week in just a few days.
When it's time to sell your home, start with a visit to howardhanna.com, ranked the #1 real estate site for sellers. A few clicks will show you the sales price you can expect for your home. We can get you the most money in the quickest amount of time because we know where the local buyers are and how to reach them. So if it's time to sell your home, visit howardhanna.com today, and we'll match you with a local Howard Hanna agent to sell your home fast.
I love being home.
Are you in pain from a no-fault car accident? Don't wait. Call RES Physical Medicine and Rehab today and take advantage of our 24 to 48-hour appointment pledge. One of our medical professionals will see you within 48 hours. RES offers DXD imaging for a more accurate diagnosis in less time. This allows our doctors to coordinate the most effective treatment plan to get you on your way to recovery faster. Feel better with RES Physical Medicine and Rehab. Click or call today to learn more.
Paul Wolf Agency, how can I help?
I got a problem. I got a big problem. The house flooded overnight, everything's destroyed, and I don't know what to do.
You can relax. The wolf is on his way.
What's the damage?
It's bad.
As opposed to good? It's 20 minutes away. I'll be there in 10.
You're Teddy?
Yes, sir.
I'm Paul Wolf. I solve problems.
Oh, good, because I got a big one in here.
May I come in?
Absolutely. Mr. Wolf, can I get you a cup of coffee?
Why do you exercise? To look better? To feel better? To drop a few pounds? To train for an event? To defy age? Or to keep your ability to say yes to the things you love to do? Whatever motivates you, G&G Fitness Equipment is here to get you there. Treadmills, ellipticals, rowers, bikes, home gyms, and accessories. We'll pair you with the right equipment, teach you how to use it, and be there every step of your fitness journey. G&G Fitness. Your goal is our goal.
At Cairo First Wellness, your health and well-being is our passion. Let us take care of you and your family like one of our own.
Cairo First Wellness Center is dedicated to providing patients long-term relief and teaching them how to continue taking care of themselves. With a blend of different techniques, services, and personalized treatment plans, we'll help you find wellness in a way that's right for you. Between chiropractic care, spinal decompression, nutritional counseling, massage therapy, custom orthotics, and more, your relief is in our hands. If twisting, popping, and cracking intimidate you, our Pro Adjuster restores the same range of motion as a physical adjustment would with gentle, repeated tapping.
Dr. Mo at Cairo First has been taking care of my back needs for the past 4 years. His staff treats you like family. I've had the traction, I've had the massage done, and every time leave here feeling fresh and brand new.
Cairo First Wellness Center. Your health and well-being. Our passion.
All right, welcome back to the Friday Night Final Drive final segment before we wrap it up for the night. Let's go through quickly. Actually, I want to talk about two games, and we'll go through the scores one final time. You just watched the ending of Will South, Jamestown.
Incredible.
Walk me through it.
Incredible. So I was sitting right next to John Simon as he was calling the entire game.
And again, that game will be on tape delay, 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, right on our Facebook, YouTube pages.
I was sitting next to him. I was, producing the game for him. I don't know what happened. No, seriously. There was Jamestown probably got a little over aggressive at the end. There was a turnover. They recovered the ball inside the Will South 20, and they were up by more than 10. They were up by 11, 12 points at the time, whatever it was. 2 touchdowns. It was a 2-score game at the time. And they threw a pass. Probably got a little over aggressive with the play calling, and Drake threw a pick 6. It was like an 80-yard return. So that, and Will South already had the momentum. I mean, they had a turnover previous to turning the ball over to Jamestown. They had gotten a turnover and had an opportunity to maybe go up. I think it was, I don't know what it was. It was, like I said, a 2-score game. But so Jamestown gets a little over aggressive, I thought. And I think Coach Tom Langworthy admitted as much in this post-game press conference, post-game interview with Sal Capaccio on Spectrum. We did a fabulous job, too, on this game. But they got a little over aggressive. Will South got themselves back into the game with the pick 6. They recovered an onside kick, and they got down to within the 15, had a couple of opportunities, maybe had a sack, and then they threw a pick 6 on the final play. So that did it. So Will South falls to 0-2. But after watching them last week and hearing about that game against Frontier to what they were able to do this week, it's like our good buddy Dennis Arrow always talks about. That first week you kind of have to take with a grain of salt, especially this year with COVID and everything else. Kids getting not enough practices in before the start of the season. It's such a quick turnaround from the spring. You need a full season off in football. I know New York is a little behind the times. We only play 8 to 10 games, but even still, it's a man's game. It's a tough sport. It takes a physical toll on these kids. Either way, it was a quick turnaround from the spring. So Williamsville South probably didn't have the practicing that they wanted, but they had a couple of kids today that really showed out. They really balled out. They were probably embarrassed last week with Frontier, which was a tough game. And you saw what Frontier did today to West Seneca West. I mean, you weren't really sure about them before the show, and I told you they had some beef, and they got some skilled players and things of that nature. But it was a good game for Will South, a good bounce-back game. Even though they took it on the chin today, they lose. They were down a lot in this game, but they chipped away. They never quit. That's what happens when you have a guy like Craig Krasansky on the sideline who has the respect of his players, and they buy in. He's got a great assistant coach staff. Chris Glenn, who had a stint at Will East, is back with Coach Craig last few years. So you have that camaraderie with that team. They came together today, and they almost knocked off arguably the best team in Western New York.
And Tom and I were just talking about that A South. There might be, with Frontier looking as well as they do, I'm really curious now about whether South Park was able to extend their lead over Amherst and pull it out, because if they didn't,
I don't have an update on that game.
Yeah, we're still waiting for an update on the game.
You were there.
Yeah, and then I left to come here. But if South Park wasn't really able to run away with that game, and that was close, they could be on the outside looking in, because they already slipped up against West Seneca West. West Seneca West, as we saw, might not be the king of that division, because they just fell to Frontier, as we just said. Jamestown, Will South just showed very well. Jamestown's going to be good. This A South division is going to be tough, and could the defending A champs not be able to make it in the playoffs? I'm saying, I'm not going to say it's a possibility right now, but I'm saying is they have the sparks that better really showed
you
tonight.
You lose Marquand Fluitt and Keith Jackson?
Yeah.
I mean, those are arguably two of the best players in all of Western New York last year.
Yeah.
So you take the two best players in Western New York off your team, and even their quarterback last year, Humphrey.
Yeah. No, Humphrey's been gone for a few years.
Well, who was the quarterback last year?
I forget who
was
it
it
was.
Humphrey?
No.
I forget. But even, you have three top-notch players gone, but they didn't lose a whole heck of a lot. They have a very good JV program, so they're producing athletes and ball players, good, competent coaching staff. I believe Overton's over there now working with the receivers.
Yes, Overton's over there.
I'm not that concerned about South Park. They're going to be there at the end. You're worried about them making the playoffs. They're in the playoffs. South Park's making the playoffs.
Only 4 teams in that division make it in, though.
There's 8 games, and this is a COVID year again. We got to factor that in, so we don't know how these teams are going to play out, how the season's going to go. We had 2 games get forfeited today, right, or PPD today.
Yeah.
Start point.
Postponed, yeah.
What was the other one? Roy Hart, Barker, Lindenville, and some other school up there.
Yeah. All right, let's go with let's take a final look at our scores from tonight. We're still waiting for updates. Also from Albion, Maryville. Last check was 22-7 Albion. Last we heard, Akron was putting up 54-0 overall. Impressive for the Tigers. Depew up 26-0 over Springville. We haven't had an update all from Chautauqua Lake Pine Valley, so be sure to send that in. Our finals, I'm going to get this confused again. Cassadaga Valley, Falconer. Maple Grove 42-0 over Silver Creek. Randolph, Franklinville, Ellicottville. Cardinals get the win 32-26. Clarence 41-0 over Niagara Falls. Nice showing by the Red Devils. Orchard Park 42-31 over Grand Island. But Prince was saying that score maybe inflated on Grand Island's end because Orchard Park brought in some of their second stringers in the third and fourth quarter. So Grand Island was able to put up a few scores. Game caught my attention. Salamanca 14-13 over Southwestern. That's a non-leaguer, but you talk about Aiden Kennedy.
Is it? Those are 2 C schools.
Are they 2 C schools? I know Salamanca was in D last year.
I thought Salamanca was a D team also, but on the Section 6 football website, they're showing in C. So
okay, so there's to see. It's tough to see for Southwestern. Aiden Kennedy only held to 2 scores, so it's a little surprised to see that.
Southwestern is going to struggle a little bit this year. They've lost a lot. They lost a lot, both sides of the ball. I mean, Aiden Kennedy is expected to do a heck of a lot. He's going to have to do a whole lot this year, and he does play both ways. The Hoos kid's back after missing most of last year, and then there's also the Panis kid. And outside of that, I don't know how much they have at Southwestern. Now, they're still going to be a good team, well coached. They're going to ball every, they can give everything they have. That Iroquois game, I mean, that was a fight, right? That was a great game. I think that loss took a lot out of it. Did you see the picture of I didn't see the very end of that game. I had a wedding that night, right? So I didn't see the final ending of that game. But Southwestern was winning. But when I got out of the wedding and I was able to scroll through my phone, because I didn't want to look at my phone while I was at the reception, right? I wanted to have fun. I don't want to look at my phone. I saw the look on Jake Burkholder's face, and I don't know who got the character athlete of the award for that team. I can't remember. It might have been Hoos.
No.
I think it was Hoos. I saw the look on their face, and they looked totally deflated. And then I saw Pizanka, and I believe it was Kleitz, and they looked like superstars. So I think
that game took a lot out of them.
I think that took a heck of a lot out of Southwestern.
And that was a Saturday game, Saturday night, so it's a little bit of a short week for them.
Yeah, well, didn't hurt Iroquois. That game
yeah,
was over in an hour and a half. But
Iroquois
still,
won, yeah.
What I'm trying to say is I don't know if Southwestern was looking past Salamanca, but that Southwestern team that showed up today versus the one that showed up in Iroquois last weekend probably were two different teams.
Yeah.
Because I would expect that Southwestern to pull that game out tonight. But we do know Coach Bart is well respected. He's, Franklinville-Ellicottville coach for so many years. He's a very good coach, and he's got that Salamanca program moving and grooving right now.
All right,
Big win for them.
Last couple games here. West Seneca East 28-14.
Do you think Jamestown was looking past Will South?
Maybe
Is that possible?
It's possible. All right, West Seneca East 28-14 over Olean. CSP 59-12 over Cattaraugus. Little Valley, Randolph, as we said, 36-26 over Franklinville-Ellicottville. Fredonia 35-20. Allegheny Limestone. Hamburg gets a big win over Williamsville East. Another A-South game. St. Mary's continues its winning ways, 39-10 over Eden North Collins. We talked about they had over 500 yards of offense tonight.
Where was that?
That was in Eden.
500 yards of offense?
For St. Mary's of Lancaster.
That dude's a freak. What's his name? From St. Mary's, the running back. Christian Dean.
Well, I have it here.
Well, Dean's on the payroll today. Dean, what's that kid's name from St. Mary's? Ooh.
Yeah, he had 27 carries, 302 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
This past week, the Logistics Plus Freak of the Week was Jalen Butera, but this dude is in the conversation. There's no question about it.
All right, last two games here. Pioneer 21-14 over Easter Holland. And the big
Another
one.
Nice win for Pioneer. They're 2-0. They beat Ken West, my Blue Devils, last week. And then East Aurora, that Burgard game, they were in control, and then they lost it at the end. The second half, they couldn't hang on. Got a little tired there, but that was a good game with Pioneer. That was a nice showing by them, 21-14. Pioneer, I think we're doing that game next Friday night. West Seneca East and Pioneer. We'll be there. Pioneer.
That could be very interesting final game.
Don't you go dying on me.
Yeah, I'm going to try not to die before we wrap up. 21-12, Frontier beats West Seneca West. Probably the.
What's your problem, bro? You see we're doing a show here? Go sit down. We're doing a show.
We're almost done, Michael.
This dude, his gym teacher is Kevin Lester, Mr. Lester from Maple East. He's one of the coaches at Will South.
Okay.
Sorry, coach.
Frontier 21-12 over West Seneca West. One of the big games of the night. Frank, final thoughts on tonight's action?
CSP is back in D, and that is going to be trouble. The Franklinville-Ellicottville-Randolph game lived up to the hype we thought it would. Franklinville-Ellicottville's a little younger. Randolph's an up-and-coming team. They had a great playoff game last year. We knew it was going to be a good game. We were going to do that Southwestern Salamanca game. But we ended up pulling off of that because we had done Southwestern last Saturday. So we didn't want to do them 2 weeks in a row. we wanted to show a couple more teams. So that's why we decided to go to Randolph, Franklinville, Ellicottville. So apologies to the Southwestern folks if you thought we were doing that game. My apologies. Same thing with Salamanca, but we will be in Salamanca in a couple weeks. We're going to be doing Salamanca, I believe, on a Thursday night, so we will get down there. So, final thoughts: Salamanca is a better team than people are giving them credit for. Southwestern's struggling a little bit, but I think with a couple more games under their belt, a couple more weeks, a couple more practices, they'll be a little bit better. I don't think they're out of it just because they're 0-2. 0-1 in the division at this point. CSP, though, I think is in control of D. Randolph will give them some fits. I'm not sure when they play, but it's coming up. Jamestown, I think they overlooked Will South. I'm not going to lie. I think they overlooked them a little bit, and they shouldn't because those two coaches know each other very well. I'm sure Langworthy was drilling into their head that they are going to play it tough today. Don't look past them. Don't look towards Frontier. They may have done that today. I don't know because they were on cruise control in that first half. I mean, they were running away with that game. They let Will South back into it. I want to say there were 7 turnovers in that game, 4 for South and 3 for Jamestown. So a little uncharacteristic of Jamestown turning the ball over so much. But I still think they're good. I don't think they should panic after this, after the way they played in the second half. But next week, Frontier Jamestown, there's no bigger game in Western New York. We will be there. We'll be down in Jamestown. I believe Jake Flack will have the call on that with our Jamestown crew, and I'm going to head to Pioneer West Seneca East and check out that Class B battle.
Is it Class C?
Class B, right? Pioneer B school.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Burgard and Cheektowaga. Burgard, I'm surprised last night laying that 6 points, and that's at Cheektowaga. Come on, Burgard. Make me look good, man. Make me look, Burgard. Let's go.
All right, my final thought.
Yeah.
A South is going to be fun this year.
We've been taught that was your thought last week.
No. We knew it was going to be good. Now it's even. You had Frontier.
That was your thought. That was our thought last week.
No, but now you add Frontier into the mix, and you're talking.
You're sleeping. We told you Frontier was going to be good. You're sleeping, bro.
I didn't believe you before. But yeah, A South is going to be really fun.
There's
this
a lot
year,
of games tomorrow.
Usually it is.
There's still a lot of games tomorrow to be played.
Yeah, still a lot of tomorrow. We talked about those 2 games earlier, so be sure to catch that one. So again, 9 a.m. tape delay of the Jamestown Will South game. 1 o'clock, Maritime at Canisius, and then 2 o'clock is going to be Wilson at Cleve Hill. So be sure to catch that on our WNY Athletics pages. For Frank Wolf, I'm Francis Beck. Thanks for tuning in to the Friday night